If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go round.
Good morning, Sinkers and Nevis, and welcome to Inside the News here on WinFM 98.9 for Saturday, March 4, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It is 9 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour here in the studios of WinFM 98.9. Thank you so much for joining the conversation for today. The phone lines will be open, so you can call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. We are also live on our social media platforms. You can check us out on our Facebook page, our Twitter account, or our YouTube channel. And of course, visit www.winmediaskn for the latest in local, regional, and international news. This is Inside the News for Saturday, March 4, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining. All right, so on today's edition of Inside the News, we'll be looking at some of the developments throughout the week, specifically a special interview held with the Prime Minister on Thursday. This week, Thursday, at the Koi Resort, the Prime Minister's office gave the opportunity to members of the press to have basically a sit-down conversation with him to get updates on matters of national interest. Particularly in areas of health, the poverty alleviation program, and inter-regional travel. However, we were also given the opportunity to ask questions on other related matters, as I said, of national interest. So for those of you who may have missed that interview, WinFM was present and we were able to seek an update on a number of matters. So for the first hour of this show, I will be playing some of the clips, the question and the answer from the Prime Minister. He spoke to a number of areas, including health, the situation in terms of the situation at the Development Bank, where the allegation an allegation was made, of $20 million being unaccounted for there and other matters. So I'll play those clips for you. Of course, the opportunity for you to share your views and opinions. You can call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989, and I'll indicate when the phone lines are open. So I'll pull up the clips now for you shortly, and that will be the first hour of our program for today.
People make the world go
Devon Cornelius, Win FM. If I may begin on the topic of health, you spoke about the construction of a new hospital. How will it be funded, and what are we looking at in terms of cost? And the second part to that question is in relation to the possible new site, what you described as a possible new site. Can you speak to the size of that area of land, and has the government purchased the land as yet? Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Very critical question. First, let me start off by saying to our people, a new hospital is not a choice, it is a necessity. We need a smart hospital. Smart hospital meaning we need a climate smart hospital, and of course one that is technologically driven. Why do we need a smart hospital? With the changes in the climate, and all of us are aware of climate changes, we are expecting stronger hurricanes. We are expecting more dry seasons. We are expecting also the insidious changes that will take place. So therefore, the hospital that we have, based on what is taking place with the climate, it is not in good stead to withstand that. So this is not even a choice that we have in the matter. As a matter of fact, a lot of our infrastructure needs to change because we have to make the infrastructure more resilient, climate resilient. Our houses need to reflect that as well, not just the hospital. So I want to say we do not have a choice. The hospital where we're at, if we were to do some repairs there, as persons were suggesting, or upgrades, when you look at the scope of work of the upgrades that will be required, you might be running into a cost that can almost approach the cost of a new hospital. That's the other issue. With this new hospital, we'll be able to serve our people much better. We'll make sure that it is modernized. And we want this hospital to be accredited as well. One of the things that's hampering us is that we do not have an accredited hospital, which means we will need to make significant changes. Some of the human resources changes that we are already making at the present hospital. Now the cost of it, we have an estimation of a cost of it with everything. One of the costs that were given to us was $23 million to build the hospital without the equipment, and with the equipment could be another 10 to 15 million US dollars. We are looking at various sources of funding. One of them, of course, is a concessionary loan, which we are considering, very low interest with a grace period of about 3 to 5 years, and the payment plan is very, very affordable. That is one of the things that we are looking at this point in time. We'll seek donations also to help us to do that. So we have already we have a good source of funding already of about 50 million US dollars, which is a good concessionary loan, which gives us that period of time in which we can pay it back. That's one. We can decide other routes in which we want to approach it. But just to say that we have an excellent source of funding and we will pursue it. Why would I pursue it? In the event we have, and we will have, we have to face reality. A natural disaster, and it really ravages our hospital. How can I, as a medical doctor, How can I know the information that I know with climate change and the hospital is not a smart hospital and not do anything about it? So something definitely has to be done, and that is why I think that we need to move forward with it. So I disclose a possible site. It is, we have about 7 acres there. The rest belong to entities of the government, NCI, education. So together that's about 15 acres. So we have about 15 acres of land. That land is virgin land, nothing has been built on it before, and where the land is most appropriate. It's right in front of the medical school, nursing school. You have Ross University. So the plan is to create what you call a healthcare hub right there. And we will build a research lab also. So when you get into that space, you're in a healthcare hub where the animals on one end, that is far end, that has become part of our culture, but we have the human, of course, separated from it. And all the research we'll do will take place at our lab, collaborating, of course, with the Ross University, because we have what you call zoonotic diseases that can jump from one species to the next. So to really put St. Kitts on the map when it comes to research. So that will be a zone that when people enter that zone, that is, so we always want to create what you call a health city, a real one, where you'll have health of our people being taken care of. We'll have institutions that are there. Research will take place there. And we really look at completing this hospital in about 2.5 years. So we are working towards that. So in terms of the funding, we have already contacted a possible source of funding, a very reliable source of funding in terms of the site, as was asked. We have access to the land, and therefore, with those two significant things, I think we can move forward. So I want people to know when I spoke about the new hospital, I was serious. I was serious for various reasons, and I was serious because I know we could have accessed the necessary funding to do it as well. So this is something I want this hospital to serve, not only St. Kitts, but to serve the neighboring islands. For example, St. Eustatius approached St. Kitts and asked how can we help in serving them when it comes to healthcare. We can serve the surrounding islands, but what that hospital will bring, it would attract a new set of people to St. Kitts and Nevis. There are people who don't come to St. Kitts and Nevis because we don't have a health facility that they consider to be of a certain standard. And therefore it means we'll make changes at the human resource level, training level, and so these significant changes need to take place. And I'm asking for those in the health sector to really come on board with the necessary changes that we need, because getting a hospital that is accredited means that even those persons would have access to quality health care, and it is fundamental. And with that, we also need national health insurance so that we can have a universal healthcare system. National health insurance is critical, it's important, it's another safety net. Most people in St. Kitts die poor, even those who live solid middle class lives. For example, if you have a man who, let's say he was a PS, and was able to save over his lifetime a few $100,000. Let's give him more than a few $100,000, a man or a woman. They get one illness. Everybody will get a catastrophic illness in their life. It's either you die right away, or you don't die right away, but you would need prolonged care. It is life. Everybody ends that way. In St. Kitts and Nevis, you get a catastrophic illness, and you see how quick $300,000 disappear. Your family members have to go and take a loan to take care of you. They put up your house that you're supposed to leave for them for a loan to fly you out or to take care of you at the end of life. I see it all the time. People who live prudently, good lives, that at the end of their life, they get a catastrophic illness. Right now, cancer is the #1 cause of death in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I look around us in the room and I can count and say how much of us will end up with cancer. How many of us will end up with cancer? It's just a reality. And most people in St. Kitts can't afford it. 90% of people in St. Kitts can't afford it. Maybe more than that. Because if you were to give people the treatment, the full cost of treatment for chemotherapy, you'd be surprised to know how expensive these medications are. And that's just part of the treatment. That has nothing to do with doctor visits, CT scans, sometimes PET scans, sometimes having to go overseas, radiation. Nobody can save enough money to take care of themselves facing a catastrophic illness. And that is why I'm asking our people to do like we did with Social Security. We pool our money as a pool, but I will ask the people to contribute to it. Next, PAHO is here right now. I'm having a high-level meeting with PAHO next week and the Ministry of Health, and on that agenda is national health insurance. We have some proposals before us, and we need to now discuss it at that level so that we can bring something to the people, because we want the people's input. We want to hear from the people. Do you think it is a good thing to do? If you don't think so, why not? This is the way we might propose. Do you think we should modify it? Because we want the people to be involved, because at the end of the day, we will be asking the people to contribute to national health insurance. And I think if we were to achieve that, and I think there's a good chance of achieving it, and as a medical doctor, I will take the political risk of asking people to contribute, because I am fed up of seeing people dying poor, of people dying because they can't get treatment. I had patients before who would say, Dr. Drew, I'm going home and die because I'm not going through this treatment. I can't afford it. I have to sell my house. What will I leave for my children? Those are decisions that people make in St. Kitts all the time. I have a patient who come by me who had an injury, broken bones, needs surgery, $20,000 for the surgery. Sent the invoice to the office of the Prime Minister. And I see that all the time. I have set up a fund for children. Just recently, maybe 2-3 days ago, we are sending 2 children to Cayman to have heart surgery. One cost 30,000 US, the other cost 70,000 US. That is the cost of healthcare. And our best chance of beating it is having a good healthcare system, an accredited institution, and national health insurance. There is no other way around it. Otherwise, the people will continue to suffer, and those who suffer many times suffer silently. But because of my profession, I know the level of suffering, and that is why I think it makes sense for us to really come together as a people, as a country, and pool our resources by contributing from our incomes and wages so that we can have a pool so that we can take care of our people when it comes to health.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
Breathe easy. With the holidays just over and lots of fun spent on holiday supplies, activities and gifts, how are your finances? If your answer wasn't favorable, TDC Financial Services is here to help you breathe easy. Up to $40,000 unsecured to consolidate your loans and even get a little something in your hand. No need to worry. Visit our social media pages or call 465-6516 or 469-5430 to learn more on how you can breathe easy with TDC Financial Services Limited. Terms and conditions apply.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News right here on WIN FM 98.9. For those of you who are just tuning in, that was just an interview with Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew, who also has responsibility for health here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. It was a special interview on March 2nd, which was on Thursday. As I said, the Office of the Prime Minister gave members of the press the opportunity for them to interview him on matters of national interest. In that interview that I just played, the Prime Minister spoke on the construction of a new hospital here in St. Kitts. Recently, he was seen at what he described as the possible site for the new hospital. According to the Prime Minister, that is expected to cost about 23 million, I think, for the structure, and then after you add all of the equipment and all of that, is going to be another 10 million, and that is in US. The land is in the vicinity of the Ross Medical University. The land is, as he said, is virgin land. It has never been built on before, and is about 50 acres. Yes, about 50 acres. So, according to Prime Minister and Minister of Health, Dr. Terence Drew, a new hospital will be constructed here in St. Kitts. Of course, in terms of design and all of that time frame, I assume that will be released over a period of time. But as it is right now, they have located a possible site, and negotiations are ongoing to secure that site and for construction to start. People have been weighing in and giving their views and opinions on the construction of a new hospital as to whether they are in favor of that or not. Now, I want to continue with some parts of the interview on Thursday. Now, police officers have been complaining that there is mold in their working environment, particularly those at the Charlestown police station. We've been hearing reports of mold at the Charlestown police station for years now, and it appears as if those complaints, those reports, are falling on deaf ears. Or if it is that they're acting, they are not acting expeditiously. They're not moving fast enough to have the situation rectified. And so I received numerous calls from police officers asking me to ask the Prime Minister for an update on whether or not they are going to be relocated and when. It has gotten to the point where police officers are saying that they have now decided to work on the outside of the police station there in Nevis. So instead of going inside the actual building, they will work on the outside and, conduct their work because they are just trying to avoid the mold. There are police officers who continue to wear the face mask because that is one of the best ways, to limit the exposure to mold. So that was a question that I posed to the Prime Minister, and I'll pull up that clip for you now. But as I said, the police officers, they have been begging, they have been pleading for something to be done with the mold issue. There is also an issue related to the Dieppe police station, and the Prime Minister said that funds have been allocated for work to be done there. So I will pull up this clip with you now, a short interview with Prime Minister and Minister of Health and National Security speaking on mold in the police stations in the country.
People make the world go
I've received, complaints from police officers concerning mold at the Charlestown police station and also reports of mold at the Dieppe police station. What is the Ministry of Health and National Security doing in response to this?
Right, and I'm
Thanks.
happy that you received those reports. And I want to say to the police officers that as the Minister of National Security, that I appreciate the work encourage them to continue to work hard. And I want to wish the new police commissioner all the best in his new post. Commissioner Sutton and his team, all the best. With respect to Diep Bay, we have already allotted the money to deal with Diep Bay. It is with public works at this time. And we need to get the Diep Bay police station done. We have addressed it, we have moved the police officers, but we need to get it done. So it is being addressed. And with respect to the Charlestown police station, that is also being addressed. We have located an area where we have to rent to move them out so that we can deal with the issues of mold at the Charlestown police station. So we are addressing both of them, and good that you asked the question, and I'll make sure that the PS gives an update with respect to what we are doing with in these two situations.
And is there a time frame?
Right. Well, I want it to be done as expeditiously as possible. I've asked for it to be done. I would be honest, sometimes the bureaucracy of government slows down things sometimes. And I think people can get frustrated sometimes, and rightfully so at times. However, I ask for patience, but nonetheless, it's a health issue, and we need to address it. So the resources are not the issue. It's just that the mechanism through which to get it done, we have to make sure we work through.
All right, that was Prime Minister and Minister of Health and National Security, Dr. Terence Drew, speaking on the mold situation at the police stations here in the country, Charlestown police station specifically. And also they are addressing the issue as it relates to the Diep Bay police station. As I said, the police officers, they have been reaching out. They've been doing all that is within their power to ensure that the matter is addressed and addressed quickly. And so they have been, as I said, I received a number of calls and text messages. They really want something to be done. According to the Prime Minister, they have already identified, or they are identifying a spot that they would have to rent as it relates to Nevis, and the officers will be relocated there. Working in an environment with mold. I'm not a medical professional, but I think that alone speaks for itself. You work in an environment with mold, it's going to affect you after a period of time. The mold will be very dangerous to your health in terms of your lungs, and especially if you have underlying issues, that can only make it worse. So the police officers, they are pleading, they are begging for something to be done, and done really fast. Let's hope that something can be done really fast. I'll be speaking with the police officers to get an update on that, to see if anything is done. But in the meantime, the Prime Minister did give his commitment to have the issue addressed as soon as possible. You're listening to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. It is 11:35 here in our studios. We're going to open the phone lines now, and we're going to take some calls to get your views and opinions on these two matters or topics. Firstly, the Prime Minister speaking on the issue of healthcare, specifically the construction of a new hospital, and secondly on the mold situation at the police stations, the Charlestown police station and the Diep Bay police station. The phone lines are open. Let's head to the phone lines, and we will take this call. A caller, you are on. Okay, I'll turn off the radio first. Oh boy, caller.
Good morning, Devon.
Hello, caller. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, man, are you giving God thanks? It's great to be alive. Aren't you?
I am happy to be alive. It is indeed.
Yeah, man.
It is indeed
Somebody
a blessing.
must be glad for you. If nobody is glad for you, I'm glad for you. Everybody will have. Everybody have people say, what they do. Every morning they wake up, they look out the window. Where are you still there? Yes, darling. With long life, he will satisfy me and show me his salvation. So thank God for the country, this country. And thank God in OZIZ, you're all in the same field, is celebrating 62 years tomorrow. So all the old people like me go up under the license. So congratulations. Congratulations also to the Antioch Baptist Church. Well, St. Kitts and Nevis go up under the old Brother Connor, and now we have the new Brother Connor. So may God bless their ministry. Now, you see, life is a funny thing, you know. Listening to the responses that the Prime Minister gave, he has now learned that many issues are not political. You recall the lot of noise we had about the mold in the Labor Department? Do you recall that?
Yes, I do recall complaints.
All over the radio station, one of the noise is political and this and that. And now you have people waiting. They got to be more urgent than that. And we have to acknowledge mold is not of anybody's doing. We have been getting a lot of rain. When you got wet and dry, it is favorable for the growth of fungus. Do you know that?
That is true. I did some
I don't
reading.
think people know that, you know?
I did some reading up on it, and that is the case. Yes, in
It's
some
just
cases.
that we have been having constant rain, and then some sun come out, some mold like what we call moss. You do biology, you know, about the spores. And they blow in the ear.
But
and some of government buildings now, they don't maintain them.
Right.
Sometimes water seep to the walls, you know.
But
you know that?
Yeah, but Carla, that is what I was getting at. I think we've identified, you know, how the mold would get into the buildings. But I also think it is a matter of maintenance. Are they responding to these incidents?
There's
these
no
things
word in
happening?
government subjects like that. They don't. That is only in words. They don't. I mean, you go and see some when rain ain't coming through the window, it's coming under the door. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm following you.
Yeah, I mean, are we going to have a maintenance budget, please? So when you hear about mold, it is now a health problem. Thank you, Jesus. And everybody must be patient. You cannot be patient in this still. They need to, if you don't have sufficient manpower in the public works to deal with it, hire private businesses that do with it. To say, oh, well, you know, government mix up and so. So in the meantime, what happened to the workers? They're home sitting down then, because you have to show up to work. Imagine the courthouse up to now. Up until today, the High Court up in the police complex, that's why they have to go in the park. The magistrate court up somewhere else. So when are they going to fix the courthouse? You know, there's no big outcry because who was out opposing now proposing? I mean, we got to take this thing serious, you know, because Social Security and the doctor going, oh, you just have a little cough. It gets into your lungs, and especially if you have diabetes and so. Those things could kill you. So I am glad at last that he realizes that mold is not a political issue. And if some workers could help to, you know, let me say it while I hear. Some workers would see the place wet and they wouldn't lift a finger. I recall working in, you see where the treasury is? Our office was on the second floor.
Yes.
And every time it rained from the east, the kitchen would flood. And you know who used to have to mop it up? Because the cleaner came in the afternoon. It was myself. I was second in command, Mr. Knight. I ain't going in India in the water. And that is not my work. And we used to go, the two top persons in the department, go and mop it up. So sometimes people see, if you work in there, you observe wet areas in the place. Or the rug get wet. Because once the rug gets wet, you're going to get moldy. And have the place, we have standard bureau. Those are the ones who does go and test. Well, those who have not found mold yet, test all the government offices, test government buildings. You don't think so?
I agree, yeah.
Don't wait until everybody got to move. Then you got to go for rent. Then you don't want to come out to the rented place.
You spend a lot of money.
All right, then.
All right.
Oh, by the way, before I go, let me send some birthday greetings.
Sure, go ahead.
My birthday will be on Tuesday, making me 75. May shame me not give God thanks.
Happy birthday when it comes.
Yeah, man. I am so glad to be alive. And on the same day would be my nephew's son. He's 11. His name is Jeremiah Williams of Haysmith Village. His birthday is the same in mine. Happy birthday in advance, Jerry. And then my last granddaughter, Zoe Jules, her birthday will be on the 9th. And to all of the nice people born in March, all the institutions who started in March, and all who wish they were in March, happy birthday wherever you are at home or abroad. And I say again, if you're working in a place and you see mold start, Clorox water kill mold, you know. Put down some of your pride. Put down some of your pride because you're the one who's going to suffer. Mm-hmm. Oh, did the government building, let the government clean it, but you will suffer.
All right,
so you can help the cleaners by even donating a bottle of Clorox. All right, then.
All right, Carter. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. For those of you who are just joining the program, you're listening to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9 for Saturday, March 4, 2023. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we'll take some more calls. A caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. What topic are you discussing this morning?
I recently played an interview with the Prime Minister speaking about the construction of the new hospital, and he also addressed the situation of mold in the police stations, particularly Charlestown Police Station and Date Bay Police Station. You care to comment?
Yeah, I will comment on the first one.
Sure, go ahead.
Because, to be honest, coming out of that interview, from what I understand, that he's thinking about putting on over 120 million on the national debt. That's what I see coming out of that conversation. And when you look at it, there's a prison being financed, and it ain't had a cent to the national debt. So I think they need to take a serious look at how they are thinking about financing the health center, the hospital, the new hospital. Because from what I understand, revenue will be down, and most people are saying that there will be a global recession sometime soon. So which means that our physical condition will be worsened. So I'm just asking them to take a serious look at how they are going to finance that new hospital without adding that heavy burden on the national debt. $50 million is a lot of money to put one time on the national debt. That's what I get coming out of that conversation. Thank you.
All right, caller, and thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Inside the News. This is WinFM 98.9. I am Devon Cornelius. It is 11:45 here in our studio. Remember, we'll break at 12 for the headline news. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we'll be taking some more calls. A caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, good morning. I am so glad the man brought up the issue, because I tried addressing it before, on another station. That is what I call recklessness. You're going to get foreign investors to build the houses, to build the prison, and you already say we're in the red. We're in the red, And in spite of we're in the red, you are planning to spend over this $1 million borrowing. When are we going to learn? When are we as a nation going to learn? We're heading down the road to the IMF. Warnings were given before we reached there, They were talking up, we're putting in the land. We're putting in the land. And then every month you run down to National Bank and you borrow the wages, and you borrow the wage bill. Until one day the bank said we can't lend you no more. So they take the land and they direct us to where we were going, which was the IMF, which caused a lot of pain and suffering in this country. People lost jobs, businesses chose all kind of tactics to lay off the top. They lay off top management. Put on prep people. Businesses died. And you're going to tell me, we said we're bringing in, they brought in $558 million in 2021. Remember that number?
Yes.
And then I sure we brought in more last year because the IMF said, talking about the surplus, it was used, you know. And I am saying, you're going to build a hospital, build it out of the CBI money.
Well, that was a recommendation given by someone. So instead of adding to the national debt, use the money that is coming from the CBI.
But I say it already. You know, it make no sense. I don't know who advising him. After the advisor one is what they're looking. You can tell me. When Mr. Harris was yesterday, you all were here, recession and so coming. Up to now, the war can't finish. And who the war benefiting? Pushing it. Europe, America, they could afford to push it. You hear the unemployment rate in America? 3 point something. Jobs in galore, even if they ain't paying nothing. And you're going to take up savings and put it in debt for what? Wait until you clear. The hospital we have is functioning, you know. Let me say it again. And I said it as a statistician. The occupancy rate at the hospital wards, except maybe the psychiatric ward, is less than 50%. In some cases, I used to get the data. So I mean, nobody come out and tell me. Dr. Martin himself said the children ward is nearly always empty. Based on our good healthcare system, the medical ward is usually old people who go in there and send them home to die. The surgical ward in every day they have surgery. You understand what I'm saying? So wait until you're in a position to do it. But what you want to go and borrow from? Borrow from who say, at a low interest rate. What's a low interest rate? It's low today until you can't pay. I mean, we got to get this thing serious, you know. We gave away so much money. So much money we gave away last year. I kept saying on the station, don't you know there's a recession coming? This person get what do you call it? An aquarium. People who lost their job got an aquarium on top of the money they got from the Labor Department already. I mean, Dr. Drew, I admire you. Get some of them from around you.
All right, then, caller. We have to take a break to give a shout out to our sponsors. All right, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We have to take a quick break to acknowledge our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue inside the news right here on Win FM 98.9. Let's take this break, and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
TDC for service, TDC for quality. TDC your company, TDC for service, TDC for quality.
TDC, your company.
Together we succeed, building our strong community, pressing onward to our destiny. One love, one family. Together we succeed. Let the whole world see. Yes, this is 50.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning to you, and once again, greetings in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from their sin and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, first of all, I would like to say that, could I say something on the day of prayer?
Sorry, repeat that?
Hello?
Repeat that?
Could I say something concerning the day of prayer?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. Concerning the day of prayer, I would like to tell people that unless we first start with repentance and recognizing our wrongs before Jesus Christ and carrying them to God, He will not hear our prayers. And the churches need a lot to repent about. The immorality that they entertain in the midst, the rejection of biblical doctrines, the failure to call out the wolves in sheep clothing, the compromising that the church are doing with sin and with those who are going against the Bible, and not applying the Bible to all of life, not studying the Bible to be able to apply the Bible to all of life. All these things that the churches need to repent before God start really listening the prayers when they're praying for other people, because judgment must first start at the house of God according to the Bible. I heard one person pray that, oh, God would give the Prime Minister wisdom. Well, the Bible tells us to pray for our Prime Minister. But God normally just don't put wisdom in people's heads just like that. First, your own self, as the church is that their own self need to study the Word of God and learn the wisdom of the Word of God, which they do not know, so that they would be in a position to teach the ministers of government the wisdom that is from the Bible. Not just pray like God, that God give them like that, no. Because the Bible says iron sharpens iron, and God used one to sharpen another. And if you're not in a position, if you lack Bible wisdom, then He can use you to teach others wisdom, and He's not going to listen to your prayers to give others wisdom when He can't use to sharpen iron. When He can't use you, then your prayer ain't gonna mean nothing much. So this is where the church is first needed to pray. But concerning the mole issue and hospital and so issue, no, I think government need to research all of their. I think government need to check out all of their offices and that sort of stuff to see about mole. I think they need to do that. But like I always say, and when it comes to building the hospital, I think building hospitals and that sort of stuff. I think the whole healthcare system, everything should be done according to the Bible, which is to properly privatize them in a proper free market capitalist system. That is the way to go about it, to get the best healthcare. And what government need to also do, in addition to that, to make sure everybody is able to afford the best healthcare, including the poorest among us, is to be at least continually be cutting taxes and government regulations to the point where we have a voluntary tax system according to the Bible, which is the Bible goal and ideal. Now, the cheaper things become, because government doing these biblical things, the cheaper things become, it become a whole lot easier to deal with such problems as molds and that sort of stuff. And not only that, in doing things the Bible way, as I've just mentioned, would give us the best systems, the best services, the best products, that sort of stuff, which is what we should want. Because when these things are run by government, we will always get far less than the best that we could have. And so these are things that we should learn from the Bible and apply the Bible and do what the Bible says. Why it says according to how government should run, according to economics, and that sort of stuff. And there are those who say, like, for example, Ms. Henry said, well, let me first say this. We have to remember, the more government spend, is the more it's going to soon or later have to come back and tax us for. We the taxpayer, are going to have to foot that bill. Government don't do things free. It's a cost to us, the taxpayer. But people like, for example, Ms. Henry, like to believe that, hey, the selling a passport going to be able to take care of these things. Where the selling a passport could only do so much and no more. You still have to end up taxing the people. The IMF recommend that the government increase taxes, reintroduce personal income tax, and that sort of stuff. That's the latest thing that the IMF is now recommending for the government of St. Kitts to do. And it spoke about the CBI program, the selling of the passport program. It spoke about that, and yet it still recommends increasing taxes, reintroducing personal income tax, and that sort of stuff, which would be the wrong way to go. And I hope the government doesn't listen to them with that. But if government is continually increasing the expense, then they would have to eventually, sooner or later, do that, because selling a passport cannot do it all, cannot fund it all. As your expenses are growing and growing and growing, you have to fall back sooner or later and increasing the taxes on the people. And that is going to be very, very bad for the economy and for the people. And it's going to make poverty even greater in the island, and unemployment and that sort of stuff, and dropping the cost of living a whole lot continually. So I just like to say these things and end by saying, let us turn to the Bible and do things the Bible way. That's the only answer. That's the only solution. And if we're dead without Christ, we will end up in hell for all eternity. Thank you very much.
All right, Colin, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9. I am your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We'll break very shortly for the headline news. For those of you who are just tuning in, we were on the topic of the construction of a new hospital here in St. Kitts, as well as mold situation at the Charlestown Police Station and the Date Bay Police Station. The Prime Minister has given his commitment to addressing those issues, the mold situation. In terms of the hospital, the government is currently in the process of identifying or securing that possible site that was named or mentioned by the Prime Minister. I think it was earlier this week or sometime last week, but I don't believe it was earlier this week. Maybe it was earlier this week. So he has they are in negotiations, are in the process of securing that piece of land, and in terms of cost, we're looking at $23 million for the, well, I would say the first phase, which will be the actual construction of the hospital, and then about $10 million. He gave a total cost of about $50 million for the construction of a new hospital. Now, the Prime Minister spoke to some of the reasons why a new hospital is needed, as there are issues at the existing hospital, and if the government is to fix or to continue fixing these issues, repairing these to continue the repairs on the hospital, the bill might be more than constructing a new hospital. And so they've decided that instead of, having to patch here, fix there, patch here, fix there, they will construct a new hospital. I was one of those persons who were of the view that the construction of a new hospital isn't necessarily the answer to all of the issues that we face in healthcare, but I believe it is welcomed. The construction of a new hospital is welcomed. Not saying it's going to fix all of the problems. The Prime Minister, who is also the Minister of Health, did speak to a number of changes that are being made and a number of areas that they are looking to improve on in healthcare. He spoke to trying to get more nurses. He spoke to national health insurance, doctors specializing, and all of that. So those are some of the other issues that they matters that they have to deal with in health care. I am of the view that it doesn't necessarily make any sense to build a new hospital and still have all of these challenges. We'll take one more call before we break for the headline news. So let's head back to the phone lines and we will take this call.
Hello.
Hi, caller. Good day. You're on the air.
Good morning again. Now, Devon, I listened to another show, and it was estimated that to implement the national health insurance, it would need $200 million from the start just to implement it.
$200 million?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I call name, I might get sued. But they said it.
Well, don't call the name, but I'll have to check out that. That's a lot
I'll
of
give
money.
you the show. Go on to my brother's and Juni live show.
Oh, okay, I'll check it out.
I think they know advisor. No, I am saying, and of course, people have to pay premiums. People should know that, in case they don't know. Now, given they even spoke about the predominance of cancer and the cost of chemotherapy and dialysis, how it is usually beyond the affordability of all of us. Say all of us, right? Now, if you are talking about health, the first thing you need to tackle is the national health insurance. That's the first thing you need to tackle, Because if you listen to the death announcement, one lot of young people die nowadays when got cancer, got dialysis, liver, kidney problem. You understand?
Yeah.
We need to get our priorities straight. All the work has been done. All the work has been done on preparing the plan. The only issue left now is to have discussion. Now, some people would object, me want to pay nothing. But they're always the first to beg, and go fund me. Deal with what you got to deal with first. Deal with that so that all of our people, because the government pays a lot to national insurance for its health policy, you deal with that first, and soon too. Because I'll tell you something about insurance, I make 75 on Tuesday, right? I had a medical insurance with national insurance for donkey years. And the policy is you pay all your money, whether you take or you don't take. They take you off of the plan at the age of 75. You know that?
Yes.
Now, 75 is when everything starts to break down. Like when you buy a car, right? When the car starts to get older. This won't work, that won't work. It want sharks, it want. So people who would have put in all the money all the years find themselves in a most predictable, unfortunate situation. Well, I suppose they mean after 75 grand die. And that policy has got to change. That policy has got to change. Don't tell me all the years you're collecting. In no year did I draw 100,000. And now I reach, and the trouble is my birthday is the 7th. They terminate mine on the 1st of March. I said, watch me. I call them and said, that cannot be right. And up until the 6th of March, I am not 75. So this policy business by all of you insurance company out there, weeping for years. In fact, what they could have done would be to lower the premiums from 75 because they would have collected enough. So, for Mr. Prime Minister, please to tackle the national health insurance thing first before you go chasing after our hospital that we need, but it's not urgent. All right, then.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You are listening to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9 for Saturday, March 4, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. We'll break shortly for the headline news. And when we come back, we'll continue the conversation right here on WinFM 98.9. For those of you who are just tuning in, I played 2 short clips / interviews with the Prime Minister. It was a special interview on Thursday of this week. It was a special interview on Thursday of this week where the Prime Minister gave the opportunity to members of the press to ask questions on matters of health, poverty alleviation program, and inter-regional travel, as well as other matters of national interest. And so members of the press took the opportunity to seek updates on a number of matters. In the first hour, I played the interview with the Prime Minister speaking on the construction of the new hospital, as well as the mold situation at the Charlestown and Date Bay police stations. The police officers there have been making a number of calls and pleas for something to be done. As I said earlier, the Prime Minister in the interview gave his commitment to have the issues worked out as soon as possible. When we come back after the headline news, I'll play an interview with the Prime Minister speaking on the issue of the allegation of more than $20 million missing or unaccounted for at the Development Bank. The Prime Minister is the Minister of Finance, and so he will be speaking to that issue. It is 12:07. It is 12:07, just waiting to get the green light for the headline news, and we will take that break. The numbers for you to call when we come back are 466-0989 or 662-0989. You can also check out our social media platforms for what is happening here. We are live on Facebook as well as our YouTube page, and you can also visit us at www.winmediaskn.com for the latest in local, regional, and international news. We'll take this breakdown for the headline news, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation. We'll be right back.
You found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission, and NHC.
NHC is helping you to pay less in 2023. Having difficulties keeping up to date with your mortgage? Make an appointment to speak with your account manager today and learn how you can pay less. Our refinancing program will give you the opportunity to pay as low as $300 a month. Call us 466-4701 or visit our office at East Park Range. Pay less. Worry less with NHC refinancing program that's designed with you in mind. Offer valid from February 1st to June 30th.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
The Taiwan Technical Mission, in collaboration with the Department of Environment, continues to seek the partnership of the public in this recycling initiative. Collect and bring your plastic bottles, metal and aluminum cans at any of our collection points in St. Kitts and Nevis. In St. Kitts, visit us at Buckley's across the road from Best Buy supermarket, in Dieppe Bay on the lawn westward of the football playing field, and in the vicinity of Connery Roundabout. In Nevis, the collection points are Old Artisan Village, Big Six, Delta Petroleum and X-Petrol. Do visit our Facebook and Instagram pages called Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis and Department of Environment, St. Kitts, for more information on the collection schedule for these recycling points. In St. Kitts, you can call the Department of Environment at 466-8535, and for Nevis, call Nevis Solid Waste Management at 869-469-1762. Let's recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis as we work towards establishing a more friendly place.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With the WIN headline news, I am Kevon Brown. Making the headlines: staffing and scheduling conflict issues at two major health facilities in St. Kitts and Nevis leading to reports of no-show doctors. Local engineers advocate for more interest from students in the field. National Assembly sitting to be held on March 7th, 3 bills to seek first reading. Guyana government denies involvement in People's National Congress office demolition. Internationally, former U.S. lawyer Alex Murdaugh has been sentenced to life in prison after being convicted of murdering his wife and son. Now, the details. Information reaching our news desk indicated that no doctors were present at the Joseph and France General Hospital and the Pogson Medical Facility on Friday evening, March 3rd. WIN reached out to Dr. Jensen Morton, Director of Health Institutions, who said he had no comment on the reports of no doctors showing up to work on Friday, but assured the reporter that there are doctors there now. At news time, WIN could not confirm nor deny the absence of doctors in the two health institutions, but it may have all boiled down to a scheduling conflict. One health professional shared that at the Pogson Medical Facility there was a staffing and scheduling conflict that was rectified, but they said they could not speak to the situation at Joseph and France Hospital. Regarding health workers' dissatisfaction, the professionals WIN spoke with indicated issues with the current operations of the hospitals outside of scheduling and staffing issues. According to the health workers, there are issues with new policies being implemented, and one even reported claims of victimization. When pressed for details, the sources declined to give specifics and asked for anonymity. More on this as information becomes available. World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development, a young, globally recognized day which UNESCO's General Conference proclaimed during its 40th session in November 2019, celebrated on March 4th every year. According to UNESCO, the day is necessary to raise awareness of the role of engineering in modern life, which is essential to mitigate the impact of climate change and advance sustainable development, especially in Africa and the small island developing states, SIDS. Local engineering professionals Dwight Francis, a land surveyor, and Colin Brown from Skellig spoke as products of the Caribbean education system nurturing their careers in engineering.
The support in the education system, I think we have strong fundamental education system. Dwight and myself are products of the Caribbean education system right up to the University of St. Augustine campus. They're at the same time and also stayed on the same hall of residence, Milner Hall. So the system is quite capable of producing world-class engineers, and this is not a recent development. Both Dwight and myself have also studied and practiced globally, and among our colleagues, we rank right there, along with our other Caribbean colleagues on the global scale. So in that regard, I think the education system has had success in encouraging STEM and producing professional engineers who produce work at a high caliber.
However, the two men said there is a need for more local students to take up an interest in the field.
As well, we would like to promote it more. We want to have a passion, an organic passion, and appreciation and encouragement of more students. The engineering profession, the world we live in has changed such that the engineering profession and an engineering degree puts you in a good place for any profession you want to pursue. Mm-hmm. When I first met students who were pursuing undergraduate degrees in engineering, and I said, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they said, a doctor. And I'm like, a lawyer, a businessman, but their first degree is an engineering degree, which we will agree, I don't know if Dwight will agree, is not necessarily the easiest degree to achieve, yet still we see that broadening, and we want to bring that perspective to our communities, that an engineering degree is not only for those who want to practice engineering as a profession, but it is a solid educational background for any profession.
How do you combat students' reluctance in math and physics-intensive careers, demystifying the stigma that math and physics are too complicated?
It's important that in the education system, we show the students how these subjects are important for them, not just in school, but also in their daily lives. So in terms of mathematics, learning by the textbook is one thing. However, how is mathematics important for you? Take, for instance, Pythagoras' theorem and so forth. How do you calculate the distance from one place to the next? Even things like basic measurements. If you're into architecture or even into other disciplines, some persons cannot. They shy away from measurements completely, but you have to look at measurements as a tool to assist you in your daily life.
Francis also mentioned the importance the engineering field plays, especially in resilience in the context of climate change. Brown also spoke of the need to be cognizant of resilience. Building interest in engineering in schools is building the country's overall resilience.
Resilience is the capacity to operate under hazards and degrade gracefully. So while you want a system and infrastructure society to be as robust and as reliable as possible in the face of hazards, whether they be climatic, economic, a pandemic as we recently had, depending on the hazard, there will be some impact. So resilience also has the aspect of, okay, we cannot operate at 100% because it's a hurricane, but how can we build systems that allow as much of normal functioning of society?
Colin Brown on Winds Island Tea on March 3rd. The 2023 theme of World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development is Engineering Innovation for a More Resilient World. A sitting of the National Assembly will be held on Tuesday, March 7th, 2023 at 10 a.m. St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew will seek to introduce 3 bills for their first reading. The bills, the Banking Amendment Bill 2023, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank Amendment Bill 2023, and Nurses and Midwives Registration Amendment Bill 2023. Up for its second reading and debate is the Nurses and Midwives Registration Amendment Bill 2023. The amendment in the Act is in the second schedule, paragraph 11, where the language would explicitly lay out nurses' intention to stay on the nurses' registry. In regional news, Guyana government denies involvement in People's National Congress office demolition. Guyana News source has that report.
Vice President Barbara Jagdeo has denied that the government had any involvement in the demolition of the People's National Congress Region 9 office, although he maintains that the building was being illegally occupied by the opposition party. At a press conference today, the Vice President said the building really belongs to the state, although it has been occupied by the PNC for the last 47 years. He said the government did not give any directive to the REO to demolish the opposition party's office.
So let me make it clear at the beginning. There was no direction on the part of the People's Progressive Party to have APNU evicted from the building that they were illegally occupying. There was no direction from the central government to have this done. This was done at a regional level pursuant to the job that the REOs have at the technical level.
Mr. Jagdeo said he is sure that contrary to the PNC's claims that it has documents to prove that it is the rightful owner of the property, no such documents exist. He said the government is open to issuing a plot of land to the PNC reform in the Lethem town for it to construct a new office once it goes through the correct channels.
APNU, if they want, they can easily apply for a piece of land. And we may be willing to give them the land in Lethem if they want to build an office, but properly on land that they own.
The PNC reform has deemed the demolition of its property as a declaration of war by the PP civic government. The party said all of its records, documentation, and reports containing membership information have disappeared, while office equipment, tools, and other material have been destroyed. The party has updated the diplomatic community on that development.
We now bring you these international reports.
A prominent lawyer in the US will spend the rest of life in jail after he was found guilty of shooting dead his wife and son at their mansion in 2021. Prosecutors said Alex Murdaugh committed the killing in South Carolina to distract attention from financial crimes. He was found guilty overnight, and in the past hour or so, he's been sentenced.
All right, Mr. Murdaugh, I sentence you to the State Department of Corrections on each of the murder indictments in the murder of your wife, Maggie Murdaugh. I sentence you for the term of the rest of your natural life for the murder of Paul Murdaugh, whom you probably love so much. I sentence you to prison for murdering him for the rest of your natural life. Those sentences will run consecutive. Under the statute involving possession of a weapon during a violent crime, there is no sentence where a life sentence is imposed on other indictments. That is the sentence of the court, and you are remanded to the State Department of Corrections. And officers may carry forth on the imposition. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So those were the moments after sentencing, sentenced for killing his wife and son. 2 consecutive rest of life sentences was the verdict there of the judge. Gary O'Donoghue is with me, as you can see. Gary, this is an awful, awful case that has garnered just so much attention there.
Yeah, I mean, it is a huge tragedy. 2 people lost their lives in very brutal circumstances, murdered by someone they believed loved them, and there's no detracting from that central fact, but it has had a much wider resonance than that would suggest, particularly because of the prominent nature of this family in that part of the world, particularly because of the circumstances surrounding a whole bunch of other things around the case, other crimes, other potential crimes. I mean, to the extent that, you know, this thing has, you know, brought about not just a Netflix series, but an HBO series as well. It is something that has gripped the nation, and it's not over for Alec Murdaugh, despite that life sentence today, those 2 life sentences, because he will face a whole series of other charges for financial crimes, and there are some open investigations going on into things like a death that's been connected to the family back in 2015, and the death of their housekeeper in 2018 who fell down the steps. He claimed the insurance money on her, meant to pass it on to her sons, held on to it, spent it. So there are other investigations like that also going on.
And there were a couple of rather shocking moments during that sentencing, one of which where we were expecting to hear from the defence counsel, and it was actually the defendant himself who spoke, who's just said very simply, "I'm innocent."
Yep, stood up twice, in fact. Said, "I'm innocent, I love my wife and my son," and that was that. We're just waiting at the moment, Lewis, for a press conference by the defence team, and we'll hear, I'm sure, there whether they plan to appeal or not, and that would suggest that they do plan to appeal. And during the whole process of the trial, they made a great deal of what they believed was sort of the botched investigation by the people at the crime scene, and later on the people looking at the digital evidence, etc. So that may be a basis on which they seek leave to appeal in this case, and we'll see what that brings. But this saga is not over by some way, and of course this family that was once absolutely dominant in this small part of South Carolina, the Low Country, as they call it, 4 or 5, 6 counties west of Charleston, the Salt Flats, the sort of hunting country in South Carolina. This whole dynasty has sort of come crashing down. And it's a part of the world where everyone knows everyone, and the reverberations will continue, obviously, for years to come. But it's something that's fascinated people across this nation. As we know, people are very interested in true crime. They like that a lot. There's access to the courts by cameras here, of course, part of the openness of the system. And all that's come together to make for something that is not just a tragedy, which it is for the 2 people who died, but a sort of national saga.
Indeed. OK, Gary, thanks for that.
Welcome to the News Hour. Let's bring you some breaking news coming out of Iran, where dozens of schoolgirls across 5 provinces are in hospital after a new wave of suspected poisoning attacks. On Friday, President Ebrahim Raisi blamed the attacks on Iran's enemies. Let's cross over to our correspondent, Dorsa Jabari, who's in Tehran for us now. And Dorsa, what do we know about these latest attacks and where they happened?
Well, according to human rights groups inside the country, there's been at least 40 attacks in various parts of Iran, not limited to any specific province. We have seen footage emerging from various schools and universities where we see girls being taken out on stretchers to hospitals. They have difficulty breathing, and they're clearly distraught. According to semi-official news agencies, there have been at least a dozen attacks taking place on Saturday alone at various parts of the country where girls have been attacked while they were studying in classroom. This is certainly an escalation over what we've seen in the story in the past week, and it's something that has been ongoing in Iran since November. But over the past 10 days or so, these attacks have certainly increased, not only in numbers, but also in locations across Iran, not limited to certain provinces. We've seen a number of attacks on Wednesday alone. There were 10 schools in Tehran alone that were attacked, and we saw a number of victims being taken to hospital.
Of course, the authorities have said that it's Iran's enemies are behind this, but that's pretty vague in itself. Are they being any clearer about where the finger of blame is being pointed?
No, for right now, there is no clear answer being provided by any officials in government. We heard from the Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi during a speech on Friday. He accused Western powers of carrying out these attacks to try and create instability in Iran and to try to create fear amongst the parents of these girls, of schoolgirls in general in the country. We know that the president has tasked the Interior Minister to look into these attacks and also trying to figure out what is happening and to prevent them from taking place. We understand that the various levels of intelligence apparatuses in the country are also working with the Interior Ministry. But I think it's important to point out that we don't have any clear answers, and the officials haven't provided any evidence that they've come up with that would prove Western powers to be involved or foreign powers to be involved in these attacks. What is clear is that they are increasing in numbers, which is only making parents more worried. I've spoken to a number of parents over the past few hours who say they're clearly worried about their daughters and they're not sure if they will send them back to school in the coming days. We also saw a number of parents whose daughters were taken to hospital. They were outside the Interior Ministry earlier in the capital trying to demand answers from officials, and reports came back that they were taken away from that area and not allowed to demonstrate. So it is certainly the issue is escalating and the attacks are increasing, which is only creating more fear amongst the public.
You said that these attacks had begun in November in an ad hoc fashion around the country in different provinces and hard to actually see a pattern per se. So what have the authorities, or what advice have the authorities given to schools and educational authorities in various provinces about taking precautions?
Well, we haven't heard any specific instructions from officials, and that is one of the points of contention amongst parents. How schools here operate in general, if there are public schools, they do have, most of them, security cameras installed at various points outside around the parameters of the schools and inside them as well. And what is creating frustration amongst the parents is, since the first case was reported back in November in the city of Qom, the authorities did not take the parents' concerns that seriously. It was only over the past week that officials got involved because they saw these increased attacks taking place. The parents are saying, how could the officials have no leads or no answers for us as to how to prevent these attacks from taking place, as to how the government is planning on protecting these girls better in the coming days while they go through the school year. I think it's important also to highlight that the officials are saying that they don't want panic and fear to be increased amongst the parents. But clearly, as these attacks continue and their failure to do anything about them is making those parents just more worried as we go through these days. And we also understand the Speaker of Parliament, Ghalibaf, is holding a meeting with various heads of different committees in Parliament. We're waiting to find out what they will come up with as to their recommendations.
Wall Street rallied on Friday to end a volatile week as economic data helped investors look past the growing likelihood that the Federal Reserve will have to keep its restrictive policy in place to tame inflation until late in the year. The Dow gained more than 1%, the S&P 500 climbed 1.6%, and the Nasdaq jumped nearly 2%. U.S. Treasury yields eased in the wake of comments from Fed officials that calmed fears over inflation and interest rates. And Carol Schleif, Chief Investment Officer at BMO Family Office, said investors are growing more accustomed to higher rates for longer.
You've seen in some of the Fed funds markets that they've priced in a much higher terminal rate than they had even a week or two ago. And I think a lot of the positive economic numbers and the fact that have really supported markets this week, technically bouncing off of, for the S&P, bouncing off that 4,000 level and finding support there has been helpful. And I think people are adopting a more constructive mindset based on the fact that the economy is doing well, consumers are doing well, businesses are doing overall handling the higher rates pretty well too.
Economic data released on Friday showed steady demand for services, with Purchasing Managers' Indexes, or PMI, indicating that activity in the sector continues to expand even as input prices cool. Apple jumped 3.5% after Morgan Stanley said the stock could rally more than 20% this year on potential hardware subscription. Broadcom advanced 5.7% after the chip maker forecast second quarter revenue above analyst estimates as increased investments in AI spurred demand for chips. Among the losers, Costco slipped 2.1% on the heels of its revenue miss as high inflation dampened consumer demand. And chipmaker Marvell Technology slid 4.7% in the wake of the company's quarterly profit miss and disappointing revenue forecast.
You were listening to the WinFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were staffing and scheduling conflict issues at two major health facilities in St. Kitts and Nevis leading to reports of no-show doctors. Local engineers advocate for more interest from students in the field. National Assembly sitting to be held on March 7th, 3 bills to seek first reading. Guyana government denies involvement in People's National Congress office demolition. Internationally, former U.S. lawyer Alex Murdaugh has been sentenced to life in prison after being convicted of murdering his wife and son. Thank you for listening.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission, and NHC. Did
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
The Taiwan Technical Mission, in collaboration with the Department of Environment, continues to seek the partnership of the public in this recycling initiative. Collect and bring your plastic bottles, metal and aluminum cans at any of our collection points in St. Kitts and Nevis. In St. Kitts, visit us at Buckley's across the road from Best Buy supermarket, in Dieppe Bay on the lawn westward of the football playing field, and in the vicinity of Connery Roundabout. In Nevis, the collection points are Old Artisan Village, Big Six, Delta Petroleum, and X-Petrol. Do visit our Facebook and Instagram pages called Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis and Department of Environment, St. Kitts, for more information on the collection schedule for these recycling points. In St. Kitts, you can call the Department of Environment at 466-8535, and for Nevis, call Nevis Solid Waste Management at 869-469-1762. Let's recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis as we work towards establishing a more friendly place.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
NHC is helping you to pay less in 2023. Having difficulties keeping up to date with your mortgage? Make an appointment to speak with your account manager today and learn how you can pay less. Our refinancing program will give you the opportunity to pay as low as $300 a month. Call us 466-4701 or visit our office at East Park Range. Pay less. Worry less with NHC refinancing program that's designed with you in mind. Offer valid from February 1st to June 30th.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
People make the world go
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9. Let me apologize for the delay in the start of the second hour of this program. All right, welcome back to the conversation. You're listening to Inside the News for Saturday, March 4, 2023. I am Devon Cornelius. Thank you for joining the conversation. So I will continue to play some. Well, I have one more short clip for you from the special interview with the Prime Minister, which was held this week, Thursday, at the COI. And he spoke to, well, I asked the question about the development bank issue with the $20 million that is reportedly unaccounted for. And so I will bring up that interview shortly. You reported in Parliament recently that more than $20 million is unaccounted for at the Development Bank. Where is the forensic audit report to confirm that?
Right. So let me say this clearly. I kept saying that there was an audit being done, but I didn't stress on it because we needed the pertinent information. And we thought if people were alerted, then the information would disappear or people would not speak. The forensic audit has been completed by an external firm, a reputable firm that has worked with St. Kitts and Nevis. It's 193 pages long, has some damning information in it, such as I spoke about $20-something million in cash that is missing. That has nothing to do with money being missed in other ways, but we know that the law will have to follow its course. That is too much money not to ask the pertinent question. Somebody has to answer. Why? So between opening up the country late and the money missing in Development Bank, we are talking about $50 million. I am suspecting that it could have been close to up there. But the Development Bank alone, 20-something plus $million missing in cash. And we need to know where has that money gone? Who is responsible? So the law, I think, would have to follow its course.
All right, that was just Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew, who is also the minister responsible for finance, speaking on the $20 million that is reportedly unaccounted for at the Development Bank. The Prime Minister made mention of a forensic audit that is being conducted by a firm which the Prime Minister stopped short of naming. So we don't know the actual name of the firm conducting the audit report, I guess for various reasons, as part of the investigation. I can understand that. And as well as the well, when that report is complete, they're hoping to make it available to the public. The phone lines are open, and we want to hear from you, the listeners of WinFM 98.9, your take on that. Call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Caller, please call us back at 466-0989 or 762-0989. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls. It's just a few minutes before the 1 o'clock hour and you're listening to Inside the News. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. 466-0989, 662-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes. I'm calling concerning, well, the $20 million. I hope that they find out about it, and I hope whatever has become of it do come to light. And I wish the best for everybody where that is concerned. Secondly, I would like to say, concerning the health system that we were talking about earlier, the National Health Insurance Scheme, research has been done in that the world over. For example, there's a lady, her name is Sally Pipes, and she have a book on Amazon.com called False Premise, False Promise. False Premise, False Promise. And she's also a contributor of articles at Forbes, at www.forbes.com, Forbes, Forbes.com, www. And she have done a lot of research, and I've written a lot on it concerning national health insurance, by whatever other name they may go in different countries. And others have done it too, from the Cato Institutes and that sort of stuff. And what has been found concerning national health insurances, in different countries they might go by different names. What has been found is that, yes, there are people who will be helped by them, by such insurances. Yes, there are benefits that some people would get, but on a net basis, when you look at the whole picture, it does more bad and much more bad than good. For example, it gives you a shortages in health professionals, like doctors and so on. It worsens the shortages. Waiting time takes a lot longer under such programs. And that is, for example, one of the reasons why, for example, in Canada, a lot of people prefer to go to their private health institutions in Canada than the government ones. And not only that, ton-loads of Canadians have to go to America, to private institutions in America, to get medical assistance. That is taking too long in Canada for them to get. And because of the wait in Canada, many have died because of the wait. Yes, some people just say, but look, Americans just go Canada too. Yeah, but when Americans go Canada, and in much lesser number, but when they do go Canada for health assistance and health care, they go to the private institutions in Canada, not the government ones. Because the healthcare, the national healthcare system, wherever it is implemented, do more bad than good. Yes, it does some good. And you can find people who would say, yes, this is the good that it did me. But when you look at this thing as a whole, you find that it does far worse. Far worse. For example, in England, it is messing up the whole system. In Europe as well, messing up the whole system. It is worsening the economy, that sort of stuff. No. Good health call for many things. Good health call for proper eating. Healthy food need to be affordable and cheap and affordable. You need regular dental checkups. You need regular health checkups. You need all sorts of stuff for good health. And the more expensive things are in your country, is the worse it's going to be. And when an economy do worse or is doing bad, health issues become more prevalent. Health issues increases, sicknesses increases, death increases, the worse an economy does. An economy doing badly is not benign. It's not harmless. It's very harmful to health, to life, and that sort of stuff. And the only how we can get a good economy, like I always say, is doing things the biblical way. By one, government have to be at least decreasing taxes to the point, like I said, where you're able to implement the biblical idea, where it become totally voluntary, the tax system, and deregulating the economy, creating a free market capitalist system. Those are the only things, because they are biblical, that would give you the best economy that you can have. Socialism, communism, fascism, planned economy, regulated economy, all those sort of stuff, all them goes against the Bible and destroys the economy. And as the economy destroys, people get sicker, people live shorter, jobs get harder to get, businesses close down, you have less competition in the market, all those sorts of which are very bad for the economy, very bad for life, very bad for the standard of living, and the cost of living goes up. Only doing things the biblical way is the answer, but we reject and ignore the Bible to our own destruction and ruin, and to our own disaster. So I just wanted to say this thing concerning the health program. I heard Miss Henry say it would take 20 million. I heard Miss Henry say that she heard that somebody said that it would take $20 million just to implement it.
No, she said,
and that's not 20 million, 200 million, 200 million just to implement it. Well, that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is, for example, how much will it cost in the first 10 years, for example, to maintain it properly and for it to be running properly, which would never ever happen because socialism does not work. But how much will it cost in the first 10 years, for example, for it to be maintained and for it to be run? And you could show it's far more than 200 million, which it would take to start it. So all of these issues demonstrate that, hey, it's only when we do things the Bible way that things go right and properly, and that is the one that makes life easier to live. And to go against the Bible makes life a whole lot harder and harder and harder to live. Okay, thank you.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We'll take a short break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue inside the news right here on Win FM 98.9. Let's take this break, and we'll be right back.
Found the sound 98.9. Win FM.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Breathe easy. With the holidays just over, and lots of fun spent on holiday supplies, activities and gifts, how are your finances? If your answer wasn't fancy, Financial Services is here to help you breathe easy. Up to $40,000 unsecured to consolidate your loans and even get a little something in your hand. No need to worry. Visit our social media pages or call 465-6516 or 469-5430 to learn more on how you can breathe easy with TDC Financial Services Limited. Terms and conditions apply.
Ambassador, we want to know why, whom it may concern, why they are not doing what they ought to do, why there is not a synergy of the ministries and implement what ought to be implemented to stop people from dashing, choking, throwing, whatever, dropping what they don't need all over the place, in the drains, in people's gardens, in little flowers patching, all over. We want to know why, what is taking whom it may concern so long to implement what they ought to implement, policies, and execute them to stop these nasty people from doing these things. Why? This morning we take an early morning walk, and in front of one of our main bakery, it is called Amory Bakery. The drains are filled with everything except water. And people are going to and fro, shopping, buying, like it's nothing. We already implore the owners of that place there to adopt the whole area, the alley behind, the whole block. And we are also imploring others who are doing business to adopt blocks and make sure they are kept clean until We say no more cleaning because there'll be no more littering. Because it's not just about cleaning, you know. It's about stopping the nasty people them from littering. Stopping them. Who don't want to stop by will, we stop them by force. Simple. In the former administration, we spoke about the nastiness that we see around government buildings. And it continues up to the present administration. It don't change. It continues. The other thing we want to talk about is our street people in Boston. We noticed that they're getting locked out of everywhere they just put their head at night time. The bar open down by the they didn't reach the post office yet because maybe they can't put the bar by the post office. Where he gone right now. The bar the farmer courthouse. Cross the road, choose to sleep cross the road. The decision doing she selling there, so the bar it out with the wire. So we want to know when we are barring out these street people from resting from places to resting from where they rest their head at night, especially when it is raining. Why are we barring them out and not providing shelter for them? They're not human beings like us. So we are comfortable in our beds and wherever we sleep, and we don't give a damn about the street folks them who have nowhere to sleep because we are barring them out without considering of putting something in place for them. What here? These things is going to cause some big judgment on the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, you know. Some very big judgment. Because if all is not well, it is not well. With all the progress that we're talking about, if everybody is not well, it is not well. Our population is small. And we must can cater for Toothmoon, Sam and Bagay in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And if we're not doing that, if we continue failing to do that, it's going to cause some serious bam-bam. Whether it is bam-bam by man or bam-bam by divine powers. Because the Most High see and knows all things, and all was created equal. All was created equal. Blessed love.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Inside the News right here on 1FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let me say thank you so much for your contribution to this program. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 762-0989. Let's head about to the phone lines, and we'll take some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon to you, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. What about you?
I'm doing good, and you continue to have a blessed one.
Thank you.
Well, you see this nastiness that the last caller just talked about?
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I don't know what it will take for the mindset or the mentality to change. Who we expect to not do these things are the ones who are guilty. Mr. Cornelius,
I'm listening.
They are workers. I don't know if they are public workers, or like they say, public servant workers, or if they are privately based. But what I have noticed is that even with the road works, some areas, when you travel along the main road, they have, what should I say? Let me say the garbage. It may not be paper and so on, but the garbage that they have left in certain areas where the communities, and up to now, these people have not gone and moved them. You have persons or workers who work on the railway track. And when they finish taking out those lumber pieces of wood, as persons would say, under the track and they replace them. They take those same stuff and throw them over the hillside. We were in a particular area, and if you want to see the hillside, the gut, where all of these stuff is, now these are people who should know better. So like I said, I don't know if they are what quote-unquote government workers or privately owned workers, because I guess the railway has to do with the scenic. Now, this is the same people who coming around at the train and who stay on top there and see over in that same gut area. So I really don't know whether if this train is privately owned, which it is said, but I don't recall if anybody came to us and told us that we owned it, but to the grapevine, it is said that it is privately owned. So these workers, whoever they're working for, so I don't know if there's any, if they cannot take these stuff and take them to the landfill. And if they do, I don't know if they will allow them in, because, you know, it's tourism they're talking about, and tourism, or if they will, it will incur a fee. But this is what these people do. You have some of these business individuals who come from overseas using our resources here. So they set up business, and when they're done, they take the garbage and they throw them in a gut side, in a hillside. Here, when they're in their country, they can't do that. So I don't know if when they are there, they cannot do it because of the laws that they have in place and the penalty that they will have to suffer if they are caught. Or I don't know if it's because of their community. They say they're going to keep it clean. But here, I don't know if they feel like maybe the laws are absent or the laws are lax. There's hardly any enforcement. Or they say, well, you know, they are not us, so we don't care. So they just dump it over the hillside and whatsoever. Not a corporate player, as they would say. The same way it is done in Latin America, Africa. They go and dump all of the garbage in the rivers. The fishes die. The people come down with all kind of illnesses. Clear, running water turn brown looking, and they're not cleaning it up. They throw everything in the river. So I guess not all pollute it. I don't know, but this is what is happening. Persons driving by in their vehicle. People in jacket and tie and all of these things. And you only see them just put their hand out and whoosh, something comes to the window. The ones who are supposed to lead by example, these are the ones who are the culprits. You will be surprised to know, caller. You will be surprised to know. Man, they on their way home, you know, with so many garbage bins around the place. With good gracious, you want to tell me you can't hold what you have until you reach them and put it in your garbage pan? Just throw it out. Some of these people, you can't even say anything to them. You can't say anything to them. So I really don't know what it will take. Because if at this level, people choose not to understand, and they don't have a conscience to know, hey, look, we're running around talking about we love our country. We love our country, and it's the best, and it's the this and the that. But it's not reflected in the mentality. It comes out a lot with the words, but it ain't sinking in the mentality. There's a disconnection between the understanding and what they speak. Going to Sandy Point, you hear people talk about SP, where the best be. And every time I go through Sandy Point, my heart sinks and I always have to cuss, so to speak. Go through Sandy Point and you see the main road and you see how Sandy Point looks. SP, where the best be. The representative down there. You want to tell me they can't do something to clean up that place? All of these overgrown trees on properties coming over the main road and all this sort of thing. No, there might be a question about the ownership of the property. Fine. But that is the least. That is the least. Locate the family members and whatsoever. And if there is none to locate, man, you all say you all have pride in Sandy Point and San. Come together as a community, and you all can clean up those areas. See if you can get it as volunteer. This has nothing to do with no politicians, you know. So no bring in no political representative in this community. Leave that out. Nobody want no politics and everything. Come together as a community. Clean up those areas. Nobody say rip down the houses. And you can have whether a vegetable garden there or you can have a flower garden. So even though you have this house that looks dilapidated, you know, the flowers and all of these things well kept and all of that, it will boost the look of it. That will overshadow the look of the house and how it looks. And if you can get some free paint and you go around and you ask business-minded people in the community, you get a paint and you do something. It looks terrible. As a matter of fact, to me, the western side of the island, when you leave the boat, especially when you leave the boathouse going down, coming to Bastia area, to me, the western side of the island is the most scenic to me. And the whole over there, it needs a lot of care. Going to Lambert, I mean, certain places in Old Road. Man, those people in the community, they need to come together and they need to clean up the area. And to me, I don't think around here is well kept. It will be so beautiful if they really cut the grass on some of these overhanging trees and so on. Make it look good. The eastern side of the island, to me, is cleaner and it is more kept than the western side. Right? But from Sandy Point, especially coming back, man, come on, Sandy Pointers, you all need to take much care. I don't like to hear people talking about the like saying it's like this and so on, and even in the same area, nothing. Come on, nothing. I think we need to go back to community drive in keeping our community thing, you know? But I mean, I understand how a lot of it right now here, this is not like once ago. You can't really get people to work for you. And work. You cannot get people to work together in a group per se. But even if it takes one, sometimes we have to start with one. But then again, I understand. Because sometimes when somebody starts, when you look at it, somebody come behind and sabotage it. And then it kills everything. Because people want to know why they're doing this and why they're doing that and whatsoever. And then, especially politics and all of that, somebody come behind and start to uproot and destroy and all of these sort of things. Listen, I don't know what is going to get this mentality change, but I think each person has to look at his or herself and they have to choose to do better. It is a decision. Nobody born with these sort of things. People choose to be who they are. And all it takes is just take a mind change to say, listen, I'm going to do better. The change may not come overnight. Because habits, once they are formed, they are difficult to break, whether good or bad. And maybe it's even more so bad. I mean, it requires a lot more to change bad habits. But if you're determined, you work on it, it will come. Because some people, if you're really determined, I mean, overnight you can make that change. But I don't know. And sometimes when you look at it, maybe it's not so much a mentality because, like I always say, when these same people go overseas, nobody has to tell them anything. If you see them walk down the road or going down a boulevard or an avenue and they see, well, they're going in that building and they see a line, they ain't forcing their way, they're lining up. And they will stand there when it's their turn, they realize these people were lining up for something other than what they went there for. So all of the whole time, they fall in line. So they know what to do. So I don't know, maybe it's a matter that, things are done and they get away. They get away, so they don't care. Anyway, Mr. Cornelius, you enjoy your day. Have a blessed day.
All right, you too, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And thank you so much for your contribution to this program. This is Inside the News for Saturday, March 4, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. We'll take some more calls, so the phone lines are open. You can call us at 466-0989 or 762-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
looking forwardly. Yes, indeed. Stuff don't care. And it's a mentality. It is a mentality. Because you got to work that something in your mind before you can do it. And they fall in line because of other places because of the system is different. Laws are enforced. They implement them laws and it is enforced. They execute it. Yeah? We don't. That's the difference. And listen, politicians, there's part of community. There's part of we. It's the all and sundry thing. All and sundry. We're leaving out no one and nothing. You see me? And they no more fit a place to implement things, to make people fall in line. And what we notice too, people who are born here, especially them Spanish people, them nastiness turned down. The environment, them don't care. Them don't care. Them don't care how to keep the environment, especially them Spanish people. And some Guyanese fall in line with that too. See me? Because we're observing them, you know. And we need to arrest this problem like yesteryears. Because all of us come, we start to see rats circulate again, you know. We start to see rats circulate again. And rats is not a pleasant thing in communities. And all them food places where they got in Bastille, with them stinking water and them stinking scent and all kind of thing in the drain them. All by banks. Hey, watch ya, man. Watch ya. Hey, if you can go, better we burn down the place. Better we burn down the place and got the place looking so. Better we burn down the place. It cannot continue like this. And every decision just talk about Sandy Point. Some of the areas down in the countryside too, and tell me go a country, me's a walk foot, you know. I'm the observant, you know. Be a nastiness. The people them like the storing, sure. Like the comfortable. With garbage around them. What we want to do? How to get to this? These are people that shovel grass Alps and reaching other parts of the world.
All right,
and teach other nation cleanliness. Are we? Now because them take us like human carbon and drop us our boat and stay out 200 years. We the same people. How you get so nasty? The teacher a while ago talk about 1 and 2. But needs 1, you know. Me get some fight from left, right, and center to trying to keep an area clean, and that area there's the area where hundreds of people commuted at the time by a bus stop. And I alone define it. They got some cleaners in the area. All them concentrate on. They look like them. Sure. I be a chicks. The cleaners them. Most of the cleaners them what they got on the road right you know. I be a chicks them a walk.
All right, caller. All right. Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution to this program.
Be a chicks them a walk to make money.
All right. Let's take some more callers. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Wow. Pure nastiness, man. Cha. Yeah, man. I just want to support them 2 callers there. Yo, your show is ending with a bang. You know, the attitude of the people and the mentality of the people got to change, bro. You know what I'm saying? This new word that's coming up now, entitlement. You know, I heard the host of another radio station, he uses that word a lot, entitlement. And this word they call entitlement is starting to mash up Sincus and Nevis, bro. Some persons feel like they're entitled to stuff, even without working for it. You know, but You know, the people got to change, bro. We see what happened in Turkey, man. One shift of the earth, 40 to 50,000 people is gone, bro. And to me personally, I believe if the people in the Federation don't change their attitude and their mentality, bro, destruction might come, bro. I want to just support them two callers there at the end. And have a good afternoon, bro. Thanks a lot.
All right, Carter, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You've been listening to Inside the News on Win FM 98.9 for Saturday, March 4, 2023. I've been your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let me say thank you so much for joining the conversation. For those of you who may have joined late, in the first hour, I played a short interview with the Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. He spoke on the construction of a new hospital here in St. Kitts, and I also sought an update on the mold situation at police stations in St. Kitts and Nevis, particularly the Charlestown and Deep Bay police stations. And the Prime Minister spoke to, or gave a response to, the question that Win FM posed with regards to more than $20 million that is reportedly unaccounted for at the Development Bank. This has been Inside the News for Saturday, March 4, 2023. I've been your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Until next time, you guys stay safe and take good care. Bye-bye.